Hi everyone, my name is Elaine, and I'm here today with Jeremy to both tell you how to play and review Backspindle's Clacks. It's a game for people ages 7 and up, 2 to 4 players, should take about 30 minutes to play. In Clacks, you're playing as a Clacks operator for the Grand Trunk Semaphore Company from Terry Pratchett's Discworld. So you're playing the antagonist in this game, the unreliable, overly priced Clacks, which when it works, can supposedly deliver a message faster than the post office, which is run by Moist at this point. The game is essentially just you racing against the post office with the help of your friends or against your friends to deliver everything faster. And you see who wins. Jeremy will tell you more about it in a moment.
Clacks is a fun, thematic game with two different game modes, both a competitive and a cooperative. I'm going to start off by describing the competitive, and then right after that, I'll get into how to play the cooperative version. The object of Clacks is to take your transmission request form card and try and complete the letters on there before any of the other players. How might you do that, you ask? You're going to do that by playing these jackards. These allow you to manipulate different parts of the board when you have your meeple standing in the right areas. So, if you look at something like this would allow you to interact with all of the spaces that have the dots on it. So, you'd be able to interact with all of the corner spaces. So in this case, it would turn them from white to black or on to off. And in this one, you can manipulate in a grid of 9 that you're standing in. You can manipulate, say, like this one and this one to turn them both off if you were standing. So if you had your meeple and you were standing here, you could turn this one and this one off. Some of them are going to be smaller where you can only manipulate a group of 4. This one manipulates the whole board. This one, like I said, only manipulates a group of 9 that you're in, so not the entire board. So like you couldn't take the 2 opposite corner ones and manipulate those. Or if you're here, you wouldn't be able to manipulate that one because it's outside of the group of 9 that you're adjacent to. So how does manipulating the lights with the jackards help us? So we have these allow you to manipulate specific lights, and we move around the board and allows us to interact with groups of lights. We are attempting to form these letters. You can see these are the letters. This is the alphabet right here, the Clacks alphabet. They are combinations of black dots and white dots, the black representing the lights that are off, so obviously they look black there, and the lights that are on, so the white ones. And we're trying to send the letters. So in this case, what we would want to do is say this group of 6. We'd want to move into here and somehow manipulate this group of 6 here, because the letters are always groups of 6, into the shape that we want. So this group right here forms the letter L. Something else to be concerned with on your turn, and something that limits what you can do on your turn, is stress. You only have 5 stress that you can use on your turn, and that includes movement. Outside of your first move, where you move from this spot up into the board, any of the green spots, every time you move, it requires 1 stress. What else causes stress? If you look at the jackards that you play, this right here is stress. So, say you did a movement, and you played this one that costs 3. That means you've already used 4 stress. So if you wanted to play another jackard, you wouldn't be able to play something like this because that's 2. That would be 6, including your movement. So you'd have to only play one that only costs 1, which there aren't a ton of. So like those would usually like be grand sweeping ones like this. So this one only costs 1. So you'd be able to do that in addition to a movement and using this. Something else that you have to contend with throughout the game is you have these incident report cards. So these incident report cards can have either good or bad things. You want to play good ones on your turn, bad ones on your opponent's turns. They can be played at any time. And you start out with 1 in the beginning of the game, but then when you draw jackards like this out of the bag, you would draw another incident report card that can be played, either for you or against your opponent. And that's pretty much the principle behind the game. Once you have completed your word, as long as you're the one who does it first, then you're the one who wins. It's nice and simple. The cooperative version of Clacks is very similar to the competitive version of Clacks, but instead of racing the other players, you are still going to be using these jackards here to try and manipulate the lights in order to send a message, but you are instead racing the postal service, which is going to start here, end up in the opposite corner, and you have to get all 12 letters plus a space and the end marker, space and end, across before the postal service moves all the way. And instead of stress being the thing that is limiting what you can do on your turn, it is going to denote how fast the postal service, this guy right here, is going to move across the track. You can do either the hard or the easy track, depending on what you want to do for your difficulty. This is how you mark when you send a letter, and you're going to add them to the different towers. That kind of is representing as the message is moving from tower to tower. These two cards are referred to as the operator's log cards and the actual incident report cards. These are the incident report cards. And you interact with these when you decide to trade in your jackards for the face up or face down jackards on the cards. So what happens is if you have one in your hand that you don't think you can use, or you don't have ones that you can use at all, you want this one, you can take this. You then have to pay the stress. So this person is going to move an additional 2 spaces to get this one. And then you have to flip over the incident card and do whatever the incident card tells you immediately. If you decide you want to do the operator's log card, you take this, you have to pay the stress that's on it, and you have to do whatever is on the operator's card, and you have to pay an additional stress just for going for the random jackard. And that's pretty much it. The game ends in one of two ways. Either the postal service gets all the way to the end before you're able to send out your message and you lose, or you're able to spell out your message with the space, with the end marker, and you win. Now that you know how to play the game, I'm going to meet you back up top and we're going to talk about our thoughts on the game.
I'm a fan of this game, and the main reason why I'm a fan of this game is because it's unique. It's not like any other game I've seen on the market, and not like any other game I have in my collection. And I really appreciate that, because I feel like a lot of my collection is like little party card games, and then I have a lot of like area control games and set collection, and it's basically just different artwork with basically the same game. And it's not the case here, and I really do appreciate that, because I feel like with the amount of games that are on the market, it's very hard to accomplish this feat. What I will say about this game is that it is a little cutthroat, especially when you're playing competitively, and even when you're playing cooperatively, you can kind of get in each other's way, and it's hard to win sometimes, because sometimes you just don't get lucky, you don't get what you need. Like any game, there is a small amount of, luck aspect involved, but probably not as pronounced as some other games I've played in my life. Component-wise, I think the game is pretty strong. The only thing I will say, though, is that the board does have some issues lying flat. And it's not as bad as if you had a game where every single corner of the board is being used. You're really only utilizing, for the most part, like that central portion of this board. But that is a thing. It doesn't lie flat. We've had this game for a while. We've played it a number of times, and it's just not... We put a textbook on it. Nothing has really done the trick, and that's a little problematic. But again, not as bad as if you used the entire playing surface as you would with a lot of other games. About the price point, I think when I bought this game, it was about $30, which I feel like is a good price for this kind of game. It has a good play length. I don't feel like it's something that really overstayed its welcome. And it does fit in with the Discworld pretty well. There is a race in the Going Postal novel between the post office and the Semaphore Company to deliver a message from Ankh-Morpork to Nunua. That's something that happens. So as far as how this game relates to that world, this is pretty accurate. This is definitely significantly more accurate than Guard's Guard, which we reviewed earlier on the channel. And finally, this is something that is both shelf and table friendly. It's not a very large game. It's not a small game. It's something that can fit comfortably on most tables and most surfaces. Overall, I would give this about a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10. I think it's a very strong game. I think it's a very unique game, and I do enjoy playing it when we pull it out. And there you have it, everything you need to know about how to play Backspindle's Clacks and our review. If you like what you saw here today, if you've played this game before, if you enjoyed Going Postal from Terry Pratchett's Discworld, let us know down below in the comments. We always like to know what you guys think. Again, if you like what you saw here today, smash that like button until it's blue. Subscribe, ring that bell so you'll know what's up, and we'll catch you all in the next one. Bye, guys.
Hey, are you listening? Hey, this is Billy West. I knew you'd recognize my voice, but sometimes you can't because you're watching King's Entertainment Reviews. Now, I would love it, being the professor, if you'd comment, like, and subscribe. You hear that? He knows what he's talking about, because he's a smart old bastard. Yeah. All right, now, get with it.